Hello, and welcome back to Netball Scoop. Today we preview the upcoming Aurora series between the England Thorns and Australian Kelpies. Join myself, Georgia Doyle, and Tobey Keddy as we chat to Joe Miller, Tommy Wiseman, and Jimmy Thomson-Boston. The matches kick off on Sunday the 25th of May and will be available live, free, and exclusive on NetballPass.
Well, first off, Joe, I'd love to kind of hear about your Nationals campaign with New South Wales. I mean, the netball during that tournament was top tier from all sides, especially those close games that you had with Victoria, which I know not the result you wanted in the end, but I kind of would love to hear your thoughts on the tournament as a whole, but also any reflections on that grand final.
Yeah, the tournament as a whole was amazing. It's always a highlight of my year, and everyone at Nationals loves going. So yeah, like a great tournament. I think the standard in the Open Men's division increases year on year. So a really great division to be a part of and be able to keep pushing ourselves against the top sides. One of those obviously being the Victorians, who we came up against I think three times during the week. Going into that grand final, we both had won one. So it was always going to be a close game. Unfortunately for us, going down by two in the end, but I think from all accounts, from people watching and from us in the game as well, it was one of the best grand finals that Open Men's division has ever seen. And just being in that atmosphere as well was such a privilege to be a part of. Playing against the best athletes in men's netball in the world. And the crowd that the Victorians had was intimidating for us, but it just made the occasion so special to see that many people coming to watch. Yeah, it was awesome. Disappointing for us, obviously, to go down, but I think we're all pretty proud of the campaign we put out at Nationals and can see the improvements. So gold medal in 2026, I think, is what we're aiming for.
Love it. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it'll be third time lucky. Let's hope we'll get
Yes,
there.
exactly.
But individually, you also kind of had a very special Nationals campaign. I mean, not only were you selected to be a part of that All-Star 7 in that wing attack position, but you were also selected player of the tournament, which congratulations. I mean,
Thank you.
kind of how special was it to have won that award?
Yeah, it was very, very unexpected. I think there's a video of me in genuine shock on the stage when that was announced. But yeah, it's something they do every year, and that All-Star 7 team is definitely something to strive for, something I've been striving for at least, to be recognized there. And then so to have that honor of MVP of the tournament on top of that was, yeah, pretty special, very unexpected, but something I'm really proud to say that I have achieved. And it was just, I guess, a reminder that to myself that to just keep trusting myself and know that I do sort of deserve to be in that space and in amongst those other amazing players. So yeah, very, very special.
Yeah, and I mean that Nationals tournament has kind of set the Kelpies up for the a successful time here with the Aurora series that is upcoming with the English Thorns, a three international test series where the Kelpies have travelled over to the UK to play three curtain raisers against the English Thorns. Kind of how has that preparation been for this series coming off that national side?
Yeah, Nationals is obviously amazing preparation. We normally in the Kelpie space play a bit later in the year, so have to sort of get back into the groove of playing top level netball. But obviously, just coming off the Nationals campaign has kind of been the perfect preparation for us. I mean, we're all just as fit as we were then and ready to go out on court. It's obviously as well a bit strange, going from being rivals with all of these people that I'm now on the same team as this week. So yeah, it's great preparation. I think really good to just stay in the mindset of that high performance netball space and hopefully bring some of those similar performances to what we all put out at Nationals onto the court against England this weekend and next week as well.
Yeah, and I know that you guys have also just started with a couple of training sessions over the UK where you guys have been able to finally combine rather than just doing your training with, your national area. How have those training sessions been working together again since that Trans-Tasman Cup, and have you seen some improvements made already?
Yeah, definitely. I think, we kind of all just slip back into this Kelpie space and are able to sort of just gel like we sort of saw in the Trans-Tasman series. It's obviously having time apart and sort of training individually in the lead up to this has been a bit challenging, but coming straight in, we've had a couple of sessions and going to continue later this afternoon and before this weekend with some more. It's yeah, really, really good to be able to just come back together, find those connections again. And yeah, like it's, we're all such good friends in this space. So it's, although it is hard work, it is just so much fun to get out and run around with everyone and have a laugh as well. So, yeah, it's been really great to, be back with everyone on court.
And I mean, this series is slightly different in terms of, especially like your captain and your coach being Captain
Mm,
Liam Forgadia and your new coach for this series with Moira Gaiha, with Nerida and Dylan being with the SSN
mm.
sides. I'd love to hear your thoughts, especially because you have that experience with them with the New South Wales side. Kind of what are they bringing to their roles in this Kelpies environment that you think will be successful for you guys?
Yeah, it's obviously a shame to not have Ned and Dylan here and a few of the others. Ned and Dylan obviously doing some pretty special things in the SSN space, and so great to have men's netball representation there. But yeah, Moy and Liam in particular as coach and captain, something I'm super familiar with coming from New South
Mm,
Wales. I think what Moy brings is just she's just an amazing coach. She has such a great vision for the game, and being under her, it's really great to have her here as well because I understand how she works. I understand how she sees the play. So really great to be able to work with her here, and I think she's doing a great job at continuing to progress. The program that Ned set up, we're bringing in the same focus and the same drive, and I think Moy is being really great at pushing that here with us in the UK. And then Liam is just such a great leader. I think someone was commenting on it yesterday that you can sort of see he so seamlessly slips between his, very vibrant, bubbly personality and being that leader as well, and taking in that serious space. So I think he's doing a great job, and as well just continuing to progress the goals that the Kelpies have, and being able to do it in the northern hemisphere. So yeah, really great to be able to have a few familiar faces for me, but some people who are really doing a great job at keeping on pushing the Kelpies, over here in London.
yeah, and I mean, this is quite a young, or in terms of test cap, kind of Kelpie side. I mean, not only did you and Liam Kiley debut at the last Trans-Tasman Cup, but you've also brought in three debutants for this series with Waymore, Ronan Prang, and Jordan Webb. I'd kind of love to hear how the three debutants are kind of bringing to this environment, and what are you excited for them individually?
Yeah, it's so exciting. It's a bit strange for me having debuted. Feels like last week, me and
Yeah.
Liam Kiley over in New Zealand. But now now I'm a veteran of the team, I guess. So yeah, no, bringing in those three boys, they're all so great, so eager to learn, and they're all so excited to get out on court. But I think it's so exciting. Like we all saw them in Fast Five and the way they just so seamlessly slipped into that space. And were able to really showcase their talents. I think they're all such unique netballers and they bring their own style and flair into the game. And I think that's something that the Kelpie space, while we do have this sort of common goal, it does allow for individuals to shine on their own as well. And I think Wade, Rowe, and Geordie are just going to, bring their own brand to this as well. And we all have such confidence in them to be able to step out on court and do the job. So I think, they're very, very deserving of this honor to be in the Kelpies, and it's nice to not be the newest one in the space anymore.
I can imagine. And I know that your opposition, the English Thorns, since the last time you guys faced them, obviously with half your team, this will be your first time ever facing them, but you played that one test series in 2022. I would love to hear, obviously not spoiling what you guys are going to do, but some sort of assessment on what the Kelpies are going to put out there against the Thorns and what they're kind of seeing from the Thorns in that space.
I think, as I said, yeah, we're continuing on with that brand that the Kelpies are known for, and I think that some things that really put us in great stead against New Zealand in Trans Tasman was just our ball speed and our fitness. I think that's just so crucial to our game plan and to our success in the past. And so, not planning on changing that at all. I think, we all have great netball brains and we're able to just gel together. So being able to grind out a full 60-minute performance is definitely the plan. Obviously, knowing as well that England are a great side, a new side as well, so not necessarily something that we're super familiar with, but really keen to put out our brand of netball and keen for a great clash against them. Yeah, 2022, I think, yeah, as you said, was the last time playing against them. I had a comfy seat on the backbench in that game, so keen to get out on court and see how I can and make my mark against the Thorns.
And I know with this English Thorns side, they do have some experienced players in there, but also a lot of new players that kind of need to be bled in. I'd love to hear kind of, is there any players that you're looking at that you're kind of individually excited to play against?
Yeah, I think Jimmy Thomson-Boston in that mid-court, someone I'll potentially come up against. So really keen to play against him. Obviously, a great leader in their space as well. So yeah, that's someone I'm excited to play against. Also, Jamal Nicholson played over in New South Wales for us at Nationals a couple of years ago. So first of all, keen to reunite with him and catch up, but also then on court. Love playing against him. A great player. Need to, keep an eye out for him flying for those screaming intercepts. So something I'm wary of, but very keen to play against Jamal as well.
Awesome. And to end this on a light-hearted note, I mean, this is probably a bit of a bucket list for you guys to be traveling with your netball now, especially to the UK, which is quite a pretty exciting place to be in. So I'd love to kind of hear how has it been in the UK so far, and what are you looking forward to kind of tick off during this time, obviously with your very limited time off.
Yeah, it's been so much fun. Like it's such a different experience, being almost 24 hours on a plane, but so much fun to be doing it together. I think
Mm.
we landed at would have been 6 a.m. the other day, so just had to power through the whole day before we were able to go to bed. But we were able to, fill in a good chunk of time doing all the touristy stuff, so Buckingham Palace or the Big Ben, all of that kind of thing. So we're in tourist mode for day one, but we've switched into netball mode. But yeah, hoping to do a few more things while we're here in between trainings. Might go see a show or something like that. And also keen to check out Nottingham when we're up there as well. So definitely a balance to try and fit it all in with the netball, but we'll try and do as much as we can with the limited time we've got here.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Joe, for coming on today. And yeah, good luck against the Thorns for the three test series.
No worries. Thanks so much for having me.
Now you've got the Aurora series coming up in a couple of weeks. What are you sort of most excited about facing the Aussies? Because will this be your first time personally playing up against them?
Yes, so I wasn't I didn't go out to Australia and play against them. I am the PE teacher for the fourth time in a row. So I didn't have the opportunity because it was in term time, which was a big shame really. So I wasn't able to do that. So yeah, this is the first time that I'll be able to play against them. I've heard lots and lots of things about them. Obviously watched them loads. And they're looking in really, really good nick, which is great because it'll be competitive for us. But actually, yes, the first time looking really, really forward to actually playing against them for actually in front of a crowd and stuff. So yeah, it'll be great.
Any particular players from that team that you're either looking forward to coming up against or terrified about coming up against?
Yeah, quite a few to be fair. And his name has gone right out of my head. The goalkeeper, what is his name?
Or Al Punchin?
Yes.
Yeah. And Josh
You know,
Byron, I think, are the
and
two.
Josh Byron, they're great players. All of them are, they're amazing. So it's just good to put yourself up against obviously the world's best, and almost see where you are in comparison to those people. Obviously, male netball, they have been doing it for a longer time period. So we are in that almost catch-up space.
Mm.
But actually, yeah, like it is going to be a scary time, but also, like a challenge is a challenge at the end of the day. And, we're more than happy to be like, you know what, like this is us, we're ready to play. You're on our home turf. We're ready to give it 100% for sure.
Yeah, so you said it's obviously going to be quite a challenge, and yet it's, as we've said, the Aussies have been in that sort of, especially that more professional space for men's netball for a bit longer than you guys have over in the UK. So what would a successful series for you guys look like then in terms of what you're hoping to achieve and what you're hoping to get out of it?
Yeah, so we have really, really prepared for this as well. So we had the Jamaica Test series about a year and a half ago now, and the preparation for that wasn't nearly as almost like clinical or as almost professional as it is now. So we've been doing many more camps than we had before, which has been really, really good. And then also, like my fitness and everyone else's fitness there has tried to improve 100% in the fact that like it's not just the work. Sorry, pardon me. It's not just the work you do in the camp, it's the work that's done outside of that camp too. Like, are you making sure you're hitting the gym sessions? Are you making sure you're doing your cardio of the week, like your intervals and stuff? And are you making sure you are keeping your body almost like at 100%, which has been really good. So yeah, like that in that comparison, for a successful test series for us, we're kind of looking for like we are looking to be competitive, and we are looking to just have our own wins about it. So almost not even looking at the scoreboard, but actually doing the things that we've done in training successfully. Like, are we taking care of that ball? Are we doing our structures? Are our centre pass attack and centre pass defence, are they clinical? Are they working? Are they not? So for us, it's almost looking at our own structure and seeing if we're implementing that. Because I know if we are implementing that, then it will be a successful test series. So yeah.
Yeah, and as you've said, but if all those little things are getting done right, a lot of the times you'll hear the elite coaches say it all the time, the rest it takes care of itself. If you're looking after the ball, if you're sticking to your game plan, sticking to your structures, everything else happens as it's supposed to happen. So I think that's a good mindset to be taking into it. Because there are a few of you guys that haven't played up against Australia before, I'm guessing.
Yeah, there's quite a few actually. I know that a couple, so obviously me and my teammate Kai, we wasn't able to travel outside to Australia. So we're definitely two that haven't played as well. So there's quite a few in that squad that haven't actually had the opportunity to play against them. So it'll be good for us to see, for the first time against Australia. And actually it is a kind of almost brand new squad. We're almost more matured now. We've still got some young guns in there, but actually there's a lot more there's a lot of control in there, which is good. So hopefully that control can kind of be seen on court too. We've also combined with that speed and also that athleticism too, which would be good.
Yeah, and it sounds like especially if just the quality of the men's netball in the UK is increasing as well, and you guys are getting more competitive matches, and there's more of you that are involved with NSL teams, that's naturally going to lift your guys' standard anyway, regardless of the other stuff that's going on. That's exposing you to that sort of more high performance environment more than you would have been getting beforehand anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think we're all kind of involved in a Super League squad in some way or another, whether that be, London Mavericks, London Pulse, Nottingham Forest, a couple have been involved in. So it's really good to like being involved in them environments. You can see how these are professional athletes. And you like see these people at training, and actually netball is their thing. So it's good for them to understand how serious it is for them and how serious we then have to take it as netballers who want to be elite athletes too.
Yeah, it all just rubs off on everyone, doesn't it? If you see it happening in one environment and then you're a part of that environment, it's very easy to then make sure you're reflecting those habits, and especially when you're having to figure out ways to balance it between all your work commitments and that sort of stuff as well, when you've got that access to that or that window into the high performance environment with the NSL teams, and that's got to be just doing you all a world of favors.
100%, yeah. Like just to touch on the NSL teams, like I always see it as like professional development as a coach or as a player. Like I'm going to these training sessions, and I've got Camilla Buchanan, Mickey Austin, and Tamsin Greenway sometimes like all coaching. I think, wow, like I am literally in one of the lucky positions of my life. Like I love netball and I'm being coached by these three athletes who have had great careers in playing, but also now are amazing coaches. Combined with like being surrounded by one of your Royce's, Emily Andrew, who's like literally flown over from Australia to play netball, and it's like it's so great being involved with athletes like that. Emma Thacker as well, great athlete. There's Razia, who's like obviously one of my great friends as well, and the Mavs team. Like it's so good being involved around with such of these committed athletes and actually being able to see what they are able to do and how much time and effort they put into it. And that's the commitment. You think, oh yeah, I want to do that too. And I think I'm here and I'm like a sponge all the time. I love being involved in that environment, like coaching wise. I've got all these drills. I'm like, I did this at training last week. And there's like a player, like I'm watching like the goal attacks and seeing how they play and actually listening to the coaches and stuff. So yeah, it's that environment is invaluable, and I don't take that for granted for sure.
You talked about that time and commitment that the NSL players are putting in, because it is still in that sort of semi-professional, slowly heading toward that professional phase. You've obviously got to be balancing all your other commitments as well. How do you go about making sure you're finding time to doing all of that? As you said, it sounds like you've got netball pretty much happening every day of the week at the moment. So how do you then find that downtime or make sure you're not getting too overwhelmed by it all?
Yeah, I don't really like. It's weird. Like I am very much. They're like, "Are you like this all the time?" I'm like, "I am actually." Yeah. Until I get into bed about 10 o'clock, and I'm like, like that's when I'm actually pooped from that point onwards. But yeah, like downtime and stuff. Like I do try and have one of the days of the weekend to then have a relax, which is fine. So either the Saturday or the Sunday, depending on what day I don't have the netball. Even today, like it's fine because I'm watching netball, so it's actually this is fun. I haven't got to think about it. I can just
Yeah.
enjoy watching my team play, so it's fine. So I try and have one of the days of the weekend just to relax and even have like a steady gym session where I can enjoy it. And then also, when I'm teaching as well, like I love teaching netball, but also I'm not always teaching netball. So it's good to be my downtime from that is actually teaching different sports and doing my daytime job. Like I love my job. And I don't see that as like a really hard challenge. I enjoy that as like a privilege and actually be like, oh, I can do that. That's great. So yeah, that's kind of my downtime. And then obviously I have my breaks in between, we're not always, and this is the weird thing, where netball for like men doesn't really have an off season, which
Mm.
is why sometimes you do have to have a week or two there. Like we'll train for nationals in August. And then the Super League clubs kind of start in the end of September, and then you'll
Mm.
be training from the end of September all the way until August again. So it's like you have to find your time where if you are on holiday and stuff and you do have that time to relax and control and have that break, then you do that. But actually, like I said, like I try not to see it as a hard graft because yes, it is hard and yes, I'm tired, but like everyone is like I was like, I'm not a single mum of four. Like all I've got to do is play netball and coach and it's fine. Like I can do that. That's all good. Like I always say, it's every time you move your body, it's a privilege. So as long as I'm able to move my body, I'm happy. So yeah.
All about a bit of perspective sometimes, isn't it? Yes, it might seem like a chore, but if it's a chore you enjoy doing, then it's still something that's worth getting out and doing.
Yeah, 100%. That's a great way to see it. Like it is a chore, but actually, I love it really. I like to moan about it, but also I love it at the same time.
Now, you said that there's been a bit of sort of change in some of the Thorns team from the series that they came out and played in Australia last time, which I think was 2022 from memory. If you were to sort of break down each of the areas of the court for the team that you've got in this particular series, is there a particular player to watch out for, or what do you think are some of the strengths of that particular team unit?
Yeah, so starting off defensively, really. So we've got two great defensive players, not two, loads of great defensive players. But obviously one of them I don't think it wasn't able to be in that test series as well because he was actually in Australia. Is Taiwo. Taiwo is quite new to netball. Are you all right? But Taiwo is quite new to netball, and but not new. The fact is, making this squad and he's doing absolutely amazing, and he's got great athleticism, and I think that's what we've got in the defense. Actually, the defensive unit have got really, really good athleticism and also control now. So they're not just boys who are athletic; they are actually boy netball players who are seeing structure, who are trying to win ball in more ways than one. And that is obviously through Taiwo, and then obviously you may have heard of Jamal who has been in Australia and obviously is a great athlete and a great netballer too. He's absolutely amazing. And then in the centre court, you have the classic and the trusted Jimmy. Jimmy's been great. I met him obviously in my first nights, no nights, my first England camp, and he was absolutely amazing. Put me under his wing, and he's been quality. And you can always trust Jimmy to try to steady the ship and continue us going forwards. And then the attacking end, you've got Kyle Lewis, who wasn't able to play in the Australia Test Series, played in the Jamaica Test Series, and actually from that point, he's become a really, really great netballer and actually improved his game so much as well. So he's got great athleticism, great control, and always he's like the best person to feed in the world because he's got structure, strong hold, but also he can jump and his vertical is crazy. So Kyle Lewis in the attack as well. So we've got loads and loads of good, great connections building, which has been really, really good, and like new people building into that test series, that we can see going forward. So we're really looking forward to that. But yeah, you've got the classic Jimmy, and he's the steady ship. He's the captain. He is the centre court that kind of glues everyone together. So yeah, loads and loads of players.
Thanks so much for your time today, Tommy. It was really great to get a bit of an insight into not only your journey to where you are now with the Thorns, but also just the state of men's netball in the UK. Best of luck for the upcoming series and looking forward to seeing you running around on court up against those Kelpies.
So much, yeah, really appreciate it, and thank you for having me.
So you talked a little bit earlier about some of those, like the tour over to St. Kitts that you went on last year, as well as having Jamaica come over and play you guys in your first home series. What sort of experience from, first of all, I guess that tournament style play over in the Caribbean are you going to be able to bring to this Aurora series later on this year?
Well, I think one of the big things, and I don't think any of my boys will think I'm speaking out of turn here, would be that like we actually learnt that we could go into games and win. And sort of like you're a completely new setup. You're an international team, and you come from a country where you're the best in the country, and then you go and walk straight into Australia, and you're like, okay, everyone is miles ahead of us. We need to go back to the drawing board. We need to work on basics. We need to work on timing, centre pass attack, and all that sort of stuff. Then we played Jamaica, and Jamaica are so athletic. The ball release is rapid. The boys are just so connected with each other in Jamaica, and their mid-court is just, electric. And so then we go after that one, like, all right, we're closer to Jamaica, but again, we're still missing sort of the connections now to sort of win. And then when we got to that series against St. Kitts, we're like, okay, we've now built ourselves up enough that we are going to come against teams who are just as strong as as we are. But maybe it was a mindset thing that we're going to go into these games and go, this game is ours to win. This game is ours. There isn't that sort of initial thought of, oh, our track record is we've lost games and lost games and lost games internationally. And once we went into that mindset that we were going to win, the rest of the tournament just seemed like every game we're like, we've got this. Let's just keep pushing until the very last day. So I think that is definitely something going into this Aurora series that we need to shake off those notions that there's not a chance that we're going to come out on top. I think we need to look at it as level pegging and just look at literally every single play in those 3 lots of 60 minutes and take it basically pass by pass.
And as one of the leaders in the team, how do you sort of get that vibe in the team going? As you've said, that's sort of that big mind shift, which a lot of the time is up to the leaders to sort of bring the rest of the team along for that. So how are you as, one of the leaders in that group going to really make sure you've got all the rest of the blokes on board with that sort of mantra, I guess?
Well, I think one of the big things for us is like just dissecting the game a little bit more and setting up the goals that we want to achieve against Australia. We've obviously been watching the tapes back quite a lot, especially the new nationals. That grand final was, wow. I mean, like a tiny bit intimidating, but that's okay. A little bit. So just like having a look through stuff and saying like every quarter, what are our goals? What do we need to achieve as a squad? That's going to keep us inside this game, and just sort of break it down from just scoreboards and start looking at, how many times do we want to try and make them send the ball backwards on a centre pass attack? How many times do we want to win the ball, with a cross-court pass, all that sort of stuff. And then on top of that, like the vibe at the moment's great with our squad. And the best thing about Thorns is it's always been pretty decent. I think as a sort of a fledgling association, there isn't room for anyone to sort of come in and just be super negative. It's like we do all need to be positive to even let this association rumble on in the right direction. And I hope that translates to the rest of the teams here in the UK who want to at some point be inside the Thorns or the Trailblazers or the current pathway under 19s, that it is a place with, I guess, good vibes, for lack of a better word, and that it is a place that we can grow.
I think that's so important as a leader, being able to sort of, not let the team get bogged down in those little moments or the big scoreboard numbers. It's, as you said, what are our targets for this tournament, and making sure that they're realistic as well, as you've said, so that then everyone's not getting super deflated if they're not quite hitting those targets. As long as you've got something that you can aim towards that's going to be achievable, then you're going to have a successful series, which I think is obviously what you guys are wanting at the end of the day. So you've talked a little bit about how you guys are sort of all spread out a little bit. How much preparation time do you actually get as a core Thorns unit heading into the series?
Well, there's like less than I can count on one hand now, as obviously we're quite close. The good thing is we've got camps at least once or twice a month, and we've had that since it's been announced. But because St. Kitts was basically last October, do you know what I mean? We kind of had a little bit of a break. We regathered just towards the end of November, and it's kind of been since then. So. We are lucky enough that we've got like a Thorns A program as well, which is sort of like, you're the one below Thorns, but we're all part of one big. So we've got some upcoming matches and stuff against them just to try and simulate full match play, and then we'll pick that all apart. I think it is tough. It's slightly easier than Australia, but it is tough in terms of being able to get everyone up and down the country to join up and be available all the time. It does take a lot of discipline, I guess, for the other boys to sort of, if you miss one, you need to go back and check in with other people from the notes we've taken, and then try and implement what you'd learned, what we have learned, and what they should have learned in their own clubs. But most boys seem to be on the right track with that, so can't fault them there.
So you've obviously got, as you said, you've got players that are dotted all over the country. They're going to be coming together for this team. Are there any players in particular that you think we really need to look out for, that you can expect to have a really strong series?
We've always got Jamal Nicholson, who actually was based in Australia for a little bit. So he played with a lot of the New South Wales boys for one of their nationals. And time and time again, he is definitely a spark in defense that can turn over the balls when needed. And then shooting wise, in terms of where we're going to place people, we know that we've always got James Firminger, who was the first person to ever score a goal internationally for the England Thorns, and he's still in the program, and he's
Little
grown
baby face.
Little baby face. Next time you see him, you'll be shocked. I mean, it's still a little bit, but he in the St. Kitts series, he was such an important player for us. Especially as like a bit of a target, as a bit of a moving GA. He's very quick now, and he has such great range on his shot. So there's that, and then there's just there's too many other boys to mention, to be honest. I think it's all really about the connections for us now, and whether or not we can weather the might of Australia's defense, especially because they're known to be quite oppressive. So if we can keep their connections and the ball moving, I think that there'll be some great netball on display.
Yeah, I certainly think compared to when I watch the women's game to when I watch the men's game, I think the defense is always what I get most excited about watching the men, just the pure athleticism that you guys have got. And, that's, I'm watching Shamira Sterling-Humphrey every week, and then the men's athleticism on that is just next level. Like as we'd said before, watching that nationals final over here between Al Punchin and Josh Byron for the inner circle Victoria, chef's kiss, I think, is probably the best way to describe that circle. So yeah, just being able to see that athleticism out on court is definitely something I always look forward to when it comes to watching the men, because it's just a whole nother step up from what you see in the women's game.
Yeah, exactly. And those two are, like, again, as you said, you just watch them and you go, oh, wow. And as a centre who's going to end up at circle edge against that, you're like, ooh, okay, I'm going to watch that a couple more times to see if we can figure out any sort of patterns between the two of them. But who knows?
Like you said, at least you get to train up against Winmin. She's probably the closest thing, one of the closest that we've got out there to the level of athleticism we see. So you've at least got part of the way there to be able to train against. So you'll just have to remember, if Winmin can get to the ball, probably means those boys can get to it too. So maybe I need to keep that one in, or do what Dan Ryan said, get yourself closer to circle edge, and then you'll be
exactly. Just feed front. I'm just going to keep waiting for the jet, mate. You've got to get closer.
Close as you can will be the way to go.
Yeah.
So is there anyone, you're obviously one of the mid-court players, as you said, making that shift to centre. Is there anyone you're particularly excited to come up against out of that Aussie mid-court?
Well, I mean, look, you've got Liam Focadilla, who just, like, when we played him the first time we played him, obviously an outstanding player, but has just got stronger and stronger and stronger. And now a Giants training partner full-time, and you can tell that it's just making such a difference. He's so quick. You're excited to play against someone like there again. There's a bit like, oh, God, I'm going to run so much. And then you've got Riley as a wing A, who I've always admired. He's been around since I was back there in WA, but obviously he's playing for Vic. so quick, so smart, and his connection with Brodie Roberts is unshakable. So we're going to give that one a red hot crack. But yeah, it's just the unit of Australia. I think just you can see how well they know each other on court, and you can see that they've drilled what they need to do time and time again. So it just looks so effortless.
Yeah, as you've mentioned, they've definitely got lots of those sort of unit connections, whether that be the shooting end or through the defensive end, and then a fair few of those mid-quarters are that bit further north from New South Wales. So that definitely helps them to, build those connections. And they are fortunate that they get to probably have a few more series than you guys get, but hopefully this isn't the last time that we see one or the other heading around the globe to put on a nice big netball show for us.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and as you mentioned earlier, all the games are going to be double headers with NSL. What does it mean to you guys to get to be playing alongside the premier women's sport in the country?
So excited. It's there is times where that might happen, and they might have double headers here and there up and down the country and stuff like that. But the actual stadiums we're in, we've got two ahead of London Pulsar's games, and they're both the Copper Box, which is obviously the big Olympic stadium, which just feels very surreal to be able to be a part of. And then the other one is at Motorpoint Arena up in Nottingham, which in itself is an arena, not just a sports arena. It's also, a gig arena. It's like one of the big arenas in the UK. So, we're not in just some little stadium, which we have been before, or, had to go off and find ourselves a place to stay. We've been welcomed in by the NSL for these ones. And we're just hoping that we can grab a bunch of people who want to come watch the men's, and then they're going to grab a lot of people who are definitely going to watch them anyway. And then we can put it all together and just form a great atmosphere, because, we want obviously the Kelpies as well to come across and just be like, okay, netball in the UK is big and it can fill stadiums. And the standard has increased since the last time they've been here.
Yeah, and I certainly think it's going to be an awesome spectacle to get to watch. And as you said, especially being that double header with the NSL is hopefully just going to draw more eyes to it. I know when I've been to a few of the Constellation Cup games over here and had the men's play beforehand, it's not just the people dribbling in, oh, look, there's a men's game going on. There's people showing up early to watch the men. So fingers crossed that's what ends up happening over there for you guys. And as you said, it just helps to grow the profile of the game even more. Thank you so much for having a chat to me. Best of luck for the series, and yeah, can't wait to see you running around keeping up with Liam and Riley in that mid-court. No doubt you'll be working very hard to keep up with them, but it'll be a very good game to watch.
I'm going to hold on to those well wishes, Georgia. I really appreciate it. Thank you for spending the time.
This podcast was recorded on the land of the Kaurna people.